What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Survivor Now podcast. My name is Randy Bruce, and today we are here to recap episode 7, the merge episode, 2 for the price of 1, a special 2-hour episode of our summer rewatch series, Survivor Game Changers. And today I cannot do this by myself, so we are joined. The entire gang is back together. Cara and Will are here. Yes, claps all around. I guess I will start with Will first. Will, how was your vacation? You are back on the podcast. How are you doing, man?
I'm a little sad to be in my room again. I was living life as a beach bum. I was all tan. My hair was amazing. I was swimming in the ocean. I was drinking smoothies out of pineapples.
I was like, watch what you say you were drinking.
Hey. I actually stayed pretty sober during vacation, guys. All right. All things considered. But no, it was a wonderful time. I'm glad to be back, though. Randy and Cara, how have y'all been on the home front? I could not watch the recap episode with y'all. I do apologize for not popping in.
I'll go to Cara first. Cara, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy we're all back together to recap this episode.
Well, I'll just say that I'm pissed. I did a Traders Mini over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Cara was involved in that, and your boy was the first one killed. I showed up for about 10 minutes, made my cameo, and dipped. So that's how I'm doing. I'm still blaming Cara, even though Cara had nothing to because
I was banished first, so we were the first 2 out of the game. It was not good for us.
I told Cara they hate us because they ain't us. They knew we worked together on Survivor Now. They actually brought that up. They were like, we just got to get Survivor Now out of here. Like, I feel attacked. So that's how I'm doing. And if you guys are watching the stream, make sure to hop into our Ancient Voices chat and give your thoughts on the episode as well. As I said, it was a 2-hour episode, and I was not expecting that, right? When we go to do the rewatch, we kind of find out in the moment, oh, this is a 2-hour episode, because you don't have those commercials and stuff. And I'm sure there's people out there who are like, oh, I remember this being a 2-hour episode. I'm very happy for you. I did not. But this was a weird episode. We were talking before going live. And Cara, I'll go to you first. This episode kind of felt a little slow, and I don't know if it was because a lot of times when you have a merge happen, there's a lot of scrambling, and this season in particular, there's been so many swaps that it is kind of hard to kind of see who's working with who in a sense. There's just been so many ins and outs. Like, you have the baseline of who's working together, but it's still difficult to know where everyone stands. So what did you think watching this episode play back?
Yeah, it is hard to keep track of where everyone is, what tribe they're on. Now that they're merged, I'm sure it'll be a little easier keeping track of them, but I feel like there's still so many people that we haven't gotten to see as much from. Like, this is the first episode where I feel like we've really gotten to see Suri. We've, like, mainly Suri, even, like, Andrea. Like, I feel like, that this episode was a lot of showing people we haven't seen, I felt like.
No, that's a great way to put it. Like, incredible way to put it, because I love that you brought up Suri. I was going to bring up Sierra as well as someone that we haven't seen like a ton of, and she got a lot of screen time this episode.
Yeah.
Will, you got to skip the drama of last week, but it came back up at the beginning of the episode. Did you rewatch last week's episode, or did you just skip that with vacation? How was your viewing experience last week?
Yeah, no, I skipped it with vacation. Honestly, Big Brother was on Wednesday night, the premiere. So I was like, I'm not going to watch Survivor Game Changers, Varner's exit episode. I want to watch Big Brother 26. I think that was the right move, guys. I'm not going to lie. No offense to y'all. But I also, I didn't feel like it was necessary, because I also knew it was the last tribal before a swap. And so a lot of the dynamics would just get re-explained now, or it would just get lost in the shuffle of a merge anyways. So even if it was a normal boot episode, I honestly just don't think I needed to watch it to understand what's happening this episode. Even though this episode was pretty confusing, and we'll get to that later, I just think there's too much happening all at once, but also not a lot. But I was glad to hear from players we haven't heard from, mainly Suri, because Suri's, hyped up as one of the best players, but she was kind of quiet. So this was her first tribal council and her first time in danger or vulnerable all season. And there's another player I really want to talk about too, with Michaela. And I think honestly, Michaela played really well this episode.
Oh, she tried. She was trying the entire episode.
Oh man. Because she got to the point, and we'll get to this too. She got to the point where she's like, you know what? I need to just cling on to Suri right now. I can't make waves. I just have to trust her. And I'm fine with that. And I think that goes against what everyone has been saying about Michaela this whole season. And I was like, God damn. Going back though, we do start off the heels of the Varner tribal, but there's a different tone. It was a different era of confidence, I feel, where Zeke's like, it happened, and I won't let it define me. I'm just gonna keep on being strong.
Well, I thought that was, once again, we talked about it last week on the podcast. Cara and I both said that Zeke handled that with like immense class throughout the entire situation. And I thought that carried over again this week, because immediately people are coming to him next morning and like Sarah's getting emotional talking to Ty and being like, you might have forgave him, but I didn't. And Ty's like, yeah, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Kind of an awkward conversation, I thought, because Ty gets emotional again, and then Sarah goes up to Zeke, and she brings it back up, and then you see kind of everybody around Zeke who's sitting here still talking about that situation, and I kind of felt for Zeke here, because I feel like Zeke's probably ready to be like, okay, guys, this is why I didn't want it to come up, because then it's not about the game and it's not about me being Zeke. It's about, kind of comforting me in a sense of being like, oh, Zeke, so sorry this happened to you. I don't see you in a different light. And that's all good. And they all mean well, but I'm sure Zeke was ready to put this in the dust, put it past them, and just focus on the game. And it almost felt like that next morning people were still on it when Zeke himself had moved past it at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead, Cara.
I guess it's probably like for everyone else, like maybe they don't know how to go about it, because that was like a shocking moment for everyone. So I feel like it probably is like, they're probably like, do we just move on from this now? Or like, are we supposed to talk about it? Like, should we still, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it is kind of like an awkward, what do we do now?
It's one of those things. There's no right or, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No,
I'm
good.
having an energy drink right now at 9 p.m. So I'm a little hyped.
Ready to go.
I'm ready, guys. It's one of those things. I just don't think there's a right or wrong way. I mean, there's a wrong way. Just don't do what Varner did. Honestly, it's not that hard. Low key. But I do think though, as awkward as it is, I think it is inherently awkward, and I think it is inherently uncomfortable. I do think it ends on a note of Zeke saying, hey, I'm ready to go back on Survivor. I'm back. Like, I'm still going to win. Let's go. And I think it kind of, it's like a small narrative in the season. And I think it ended there. And I think it ended on a good note. I mean, it continued on into the merge as well, where Zeke was explaining the whole situation. But I feel like, I think it ended as good as it could have. And that's what I'll say about that.
No, very well said. And that's kind of how we started with the episode, is that kind of getting past the tough situation that was last week. And we already talked about the fact that this was the merge episode. So we see everybody, let's go ahead and get to that point. We see everybody walk up, they notice this huge table of food. Like, I was even hungry, and I started watching it after dinner tonight, so I shouldn't have been hungry. But I'm like, this actually looks really good. Everyone's obviously excited, but everyone also notices that Jeff has something underneath, like a towel, or I said underneath the towel. You know what I mean? It was some type of
cloth.
Yeah, blanket, or I don't know what he's using out there. Tarp, I don't know. Say whatever you want. But anyway, so he's got something hidden. So these are experienced Survivor players. They know, yo, something's got to be up. And they immediately, when Jeff's talking to them, point that out. And Jeff's like, okay, why don't we get to what's going on here? And this is something we've seen in the new era seasons. They go through a negotiation almost. It's like everybody can enjoy the merged feast, but you've got one more decision to make as a tribe. And that's, I need two people, one from each tribe, to volunteer not to participate in this merged feast, which is, I was trying to put myself in their shoes, and I feel like that would be almost the most difficult decision ever. It's not even like a thing where you're looking around being like, does anyone want to volunteer? It's just someone has to step up. So I present this question before we actually get to how this ended up playing out. Cara, Will, are you stepping up? Are you stepping out and giving everyone else food while you just kind of chill on the beach?
I'd say, unless they piss me off, I'd probably do it. I feel like I'm. Oh, is R.I.P. Randy? I think. Oh, there we go. You're back. I think I'm someone who I don't really need to have a lot of food. You know, I can survive being hungry. And so I think it'll buy a lot of goodwill. I might be able to use it to barter too. You know, I could be like, hey, I kind of gave everyone food. Please don't vote me out. I think it would buy a lot of goodwill. And I think it kind of worked out for one player. And I think when another player stepped out, I think everyone kind of saw through it. So I would also think about how I'd be perceived. But I think for the most part, I would do it. I'm a good guy. What about you, Cara?
I'm not against stepping out, and I feel like if it went long enough where people were like not doing anything, then I'd be like, okay, I'll do it. But I feel like I would be nervous to like initially step out just because of what other people are thinking. Like, are they thinking I'm stepping out for possible advantage or what? You know, like anything could happen when you're going off not with the group. So I feel like I wouldn't want to, but like I would.
Well, there's a third part to this that I forgot to say, and that was actually what's sitting next to Jeff, which was if nobody steps out, you still get a little merge feast. You get a small sip of tea, and then you get one cracker with cheese. So that definitely adds to it. You guys are better than me. Like what I took from that is, Will, you were like, I'll step out. Kara's like, maybe if no one else does. I don't think I'm doing it. I don't think I can. I think I'm like, I'm either eating, like, I'm sorry, this is going to sound terrible. I'm either eating that merge feast or nobody's eating the merge feast. Especially if I'm starving out there. I don't know. Maybe that would be my downfall in the game.
I know you out first,
Cara?
I thought you were going to be like, I'll step out.
I don't think I could. Did you see that food? They had like an entire pig sitting there. I'm like, yeah, Randy, I need some protein.
Randy, you called 13 cheese crackers a feast as well, all right? Food to you is
I'm just saying, you get food. There's
if you call that a feast, I don't want to go to your house on Thanksgiving, dog. All I'm saying.
I'm just saying, there's still a little bit of food, but luckily for them, they did get two people to step out. We had two very noble people, which, Will, you even said one of them was looked at as like, I see the game you're playing. And the other one who did the exact same thing and didn't step out first was like, they're just an amazing person. This makes sense. So you have, for the Mana tribe, I believe, you have Brad Culpepper. He immediately was like, I mean, guys, I'm okay. I'm fine. And he said, what would Monica do? And we had Zeke literally saying confessional, look, this is Brad Culpepper, who did not get a good reputation after Blood versus Water, who kind of wants to fix his reputation. And I mean, he's right to an extent. Culpepper has been saying all season, look, I'm playing a different way. I'm trying to play by like, what would my wife Monica do? And he says the same thing here. You know, when asked about it, he says, I was just thinking this is what Monica would do. And he's like, I can catch fish. I'll be fine. And then for a second, I thought no one was going to step out for Nuku. I thought Ozzy should have been the person to step out. When Ozzy was like, I don't think I can do it. I'm like, Ozzy, you are fine out here in the jungle. You've played like 5 times. You're fine, my guy. But
No.
he didn't step out. And then it was Ty, the smallest guy there, who stepped out. And everyone just knows that Ty is the sweetest person ever. And Ty was like, I'm sure you guys will enjoy it more than I would. And so he gets his reward a little bit later on, some good juju towards Ty. Cara, surprised at either of them stepping out?
No, I feel like that's who I would have expected to step out. Not surprised, especially Ty. I feel like that was kind of a given. And I feel like the tribe also thought that. So, yeah.
I mean, Will, you were kind of shocked that I said that Ozzy should have been the one to step out.
So I think Ozzy would have stayed, not because he needed the food or he wanted he didn't even want the food. I feel like it's more of like an ego thing where he's like, I made the merge, I deserve this. And I think that is his line of thinking. I mean, obviously he's a lot older in Game Changers than he was in Cook Island or Micronesia, but I still just think of Ozzy as just being a little cocky, you know? Like I think back to like old school Ozzy where he's like, I'm the Dolphin Boy, I'm this, I'm that, I love Amanda. And so to me, it's like that's just kind of Ozzy's MO. And I'm with Cara. I feel like Brad Culpepper, he seems like the falling on the sword kind of guy where he's like, don't worry, guys. I'll step out for y'all. What would Monica do? And like everyone would be like, come on, Brad. And then Ty's like, I'll do it. Is Ty vegan?
Or Ty is vegan, yes.
I think that also explains why, because there's a lot of meat there. There's fruit, obviously, but I feel like, you know, if there's fruits and meats, he'd want someone who would enjoy both fruits and meats when all he does is eat fruits.
I also don't think Ty drinks. Don't quote me on that one, but I also don't think he drinks. And the other thing that I found really interesting about this is they got to go off. So it wasn't like you go back to your camp or whatever and just join back later, or it wasn't you go to exile. They just kind of went to the edge of the beach and just kind of chilled for a minute. And those two, we talked about how difficult it is to like know who's working with who, but those two in particular have worked closely all season. And I thought, this is a wonderful opportunity for the two of them to kind of gain intel and see where their heads are at. And that's exactly what they did. Culpepper said, look, I can be Ty's Caleb this season. Like, I trust Ty. I feel close to Ty. So they start talking strategy, only to be interrupted by Debbie. Debbie, nobody's scared of Debbie. Debbie is twerking. Oh, we went two different ways. You went the drunk route. I went the twerking route, trying to get other people to twerk. And she says on camera, she's like, I haven't had anything to drink, but if I can have fun with these guys and they can see me as the fun, kooky lady, you know, shaking my butt around, like, I'm going to do that, whatever I have to do to get in with this crew. Will, good move or not necessary? Good move or Debbie move?
Debbie, it's a Debbie move. Like, look, Debbie saying, I did not have a sip of alcohol. That, I feel like we all kind of relate to that, of like, you know, your friend like showing you a video of you drunk and you're like going off and freaking out or like partying, and you're like, oh no, I was sober then. Don't worry about it.
You seriously think she didn't have anything to drink?
No, I thought she did. It was just lying. I don't know.
I believed her that she hasn't touched the alcohol.
Actually, that makes sense. That seems like a Debbie move to lie about being drunk and like pretending it's like a big move, because it's like no one. I feel like the merge feast just doesn't really matter in terms of game. I think it's great for everyone to like catch up and hang out and socialize, but like we've never really seen a really tight alliance or group or even a decision made off the heels of a merge feast. It's always just we're all happy and celebrating before we all have to vote each other out. And so that's my opinion on Debbie.
Cara, same question. Was it a Debbie move or was this a good move? I felt it was unnecessary personally.
Yeah, it was a Debbie move. I didn't think it was necessary either. She's just Debbie.
We need a show just called She's Just Debbie, and it just has to be a Debbie compilation of her life. Like, please give me that. So past the merge feast, we can get to actual gameplay, and the first two names that get thrown out immediately are two interesting ones that I don't think I would go with, and that was Haley and Michaela. And I've always said that I feel at times Survivor players miss opportunities with these people on the bottom. So it's pretty obvious. We've been saying one thing about Survivor Game Changers, this, rewatching it back. It's very clear who is on top, and it's very clear who's on the bottom. There's people who have had nobody the entire game. You could say Troyzan has Culpepper now. Maybe he found his way there, but early on in this game, it was Culpepper, Haley, and Michaela, and it seems like they just had nobody the entire game. No one's wanting to work with those three, specifically Michaela and Haley to an extent. They've just kind of been floating in the game as numbers for people to pick up. And that's where I thought this was so surprising that they were such an easy vote. We see this like montage of everyone going around, and it looks like Michaela is going to be the first vote. Michaela, you cool with that? Michaela, you cool with that? Yeah, we're cool. And then Haley's kind of the backup. They end up deciding to split votes. Cara, how do you feel about this? Because I feel if I'm a player on either side, and usually with the merge, we see two alliances rise up and go against each other, I would be thinking I should go to those people on the bottom, and that's 2 votes. If you go to Haley and Michaela, you pull them aside. Look, you two are the easy votes. Everybody's agreeing on you two. They have nowhere to go. Mm-hmm. More than likely, they are going to go with you and whoever you want to vote out. I just think those are crucial numbers that you should be wanting to keep in this game. What do you think?
I agree. I don't see a reason for them to get out the people that are on the bottom. Yeah, it's easy. It's an easy move. It's not getting you out, but why not get those numbers, get people on your side so you can, stay, go further, stay longer, have people that trust you, because that builds trust, saving someone from being eliminated.
I mean, specifically if you're someone, just as an example, I know Culpepper, it wouldn't have made sense for Culpepper to go to Haley, but say you have your crew. You already have Sierra. You already have Ty. You should be looking at the other group and being like, they're going to go against us eventually. Here's 2 people to bring in. Now we have the numbers. Now it's whatever it is. It's 9v6 or however you want to look at it. Will, walk us through the situation, how you saw it. Did you think Michaela was a good first vote? Obviously, everyone's stating, let's get Michaela out. She's no fun to have around camp. She's wild. You never know if you can trust her. How did you view this situation?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, though. I'm a Michaela apologist. I'm a big Michaela fan, and even more so watching Game Changers. And that's like one of the big notes I made. I feel like I do think people rag too much on the idea of an easy vote, because I think an idea, too, with the idea of an easy vote is once you do merge or your first tribal council, it's always you don't know who your true alliance is. And while that's, less to an extent with this merge, because, Brad Culpepper has his group already, with the merge, like you don't know if someone's going to flip. You don't know if anyone's going to jump ship. And so everyone's looking to at least survive that first tribal council. And it's usually the second merge tribal council or the third merge tribal council that is the more chaotic, where someone's getting blindsided or voted out or blindsided or whatever. And so I think there is a lot of credence to voting the easy vote. That said, though, there is a lot more logic in picking up someone like Michaela. I understand that there's the perception of her being like a crazy, chaotic player, but like realistically, guys, have you seen it this season? Because I haven't.
I have.
Okay. Besides RBF,
I was thinking this watching the episode earlier. I don't think Michaela's good at Survivor. Bold statement.
What?
Why?
What? Because everyone in the
you're on your own here.
Yeah. What?
Cara logs off. Will logs off, and it's like, yeah, go ahead and tell her why. And that's where I was going next. I was bringing up the situation with her and Suri, or kind of the mentorship, which I found endearing to an extent. Like, I really thought it was cool with Suri being like, look, I see my younger self in Michaela. I used to be like that, used to think like, I'm going to tell people how it is. That's why I don't think Michaela's that great at Survivor, because there's a moment that, Suri already told her, yo, you need to reel it back in. You need to kind of be nice to everyone and don't show your expression on your face. Don't do any of that. And then Michaela walks up to people laying on the hammock when they were saying, hey, you should vote for Zeke. And there was a comment that she made. What did she say? It was, they told her Zeke, and she's like, oh, I'm hearing my name. Why am I hearing my name? And I was like, Michaela, Suri just told you don't do that. And I thought Suri was going to say something because Suri kind of looks over at her and is like staring at her after she said that. I feel like at times, just like Suri said, she can't keep stuff to herself. And she lets how she wears her heart on her sleeve. She wears her emotion on her sleeve. And she's going to show you exactly how she's feeling. That's why I feel like Michaela is a wonderful person, challenge beast, incredible woman, but not the best Survivor player. Just going to say.
My only thing, though, is that from very early on, there's like that bad rap she got. This is like episode 1, with like Tony even saying, Michaela is going to explode, Michaela's going to blow up. Sierra Easton going like, hey, I don't trust Michaela. From day 1, Michaela had a bad rep. I don't think there was much she could have realistically done because she had that perception, and everyone's going to dogpile on that perception that Michaela is a player. Might be. And my bad. And so I think despite that, it's like she does wear her emotion on her sleeve, but I don't think it matters as much in the same season where Debbie is screaming at Brad Culpepper, and I feel like it's the same. They both are getting the same reputation when I feel like it's completely different.
No, I definitely feel that. I mean, Cara, you disagreed as well with me. So you're more on Will's side where it's like kind of just like a bad rep that she's getting to an extent?
Yeah, like from the beginning, they, like Will said, like they were against her. Like I don't know. I guess they just didn't like her. I don't know. But she had a hard time from the beginning, even just having people like her want to work with her and whatever. Exactly. Sandra framed her.
Which gave her back the sugar incident. Sandra framed her. Yeah. No, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, it's okay. She's like Michaela's learning, like the first time she played, the second time, like she's learning. And I feel like hearing your name is out there. You're going to try and do everything you can to get your name not to be out there. So I feel like it makes I don't know. I feel like it makes sense that she would go to people and be like, I hear my name's out there. Even though Suri's telling her not to, Suri's one person, how could she have all this trust in her? You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
I feel like,
and this,
I don't know.
This is what makes Suri such an incredible player as well. The fact that she did exactly what I think more people should do. She went up to Michaela and spoke with her. I don't know if it was her going to Michaela or Michaela going to Suri, but Suri did mention, hey, I was going to pull you aside eventually. And we see Suri in confessional be like, why would I go with everybody else? Yeah, I like Michaela. I don't want Michaela to go. And this is what makes Suri so good. She might not be a physical threat, but her social game and the way that she controls the people in her alliances it's up there as one of the best. Like, honestly, she's so good at this. And she kind of takes Michaela under her wing. And that moment that we kind of keep talking about, it was so great to see. It was almost like Suri giving her a Survivor lesson, a legend talking to someone who is relatively new to the game. This is only Michaela's, I believe, second season. She played 2 seasons, right? And this was her second season. So it was cool seeing that play out. And I think, this won Michaela over. She says, yo, I have a new respect for Suri and I trust Suri. And this carried over into the second part of the episode. But I think this was honestly the move. I'm trying to think. I think this was the move of the episode. Is her going to Michaela and being like, yo, I don't want you to go home. I want to bring you in.
Yeah. No, like this is the exact thing we always say when we talk about picking up the people on the bottom. Suri just did that. So Randy, when you say, "Oh, no one ever thinks like me," if I was on Survivor, let me tell you,
I'm the perfect player. No,
player.
if you guys watched Touchy Subjects, everyone said I am not the perfect. Every time it was like, who's most likely to get voted out first? Who's most likely to flunder in the game? It was Randy, and I was like, okay, guys, okay.
I'm just saying.
Gotta prove people wrong here.
Yeah, I suppose.
Will, you're gonna agree with them, so I don't even want to hear it.
I 100 like. I really wish I could like mail in my own like votes. I'd be like anything negative, like Courtney and Panama, just Randy.
I have so many people to prove wrong. We get to the first immunity challenge. It came down to a showdown between. I feel like I would be awful at this challenge. Let me just say that. It came down to a showdown between Andrea and Ty, and Andrea won the first immunity necklace. What did we think about the immunity necklace, guys? Because Troyzan was like, that's a little bit weird looking. Are we spark or snuff? Did we like it?
Spark or snuff? What's the neutral? What's the neutral option here? I
don't know.
I'm not a fashion guy. I wear plaid and beanies. All right, so I don't think I have the credentials here. If we want to get Matthew on board, we can call it Math. And
we just got to do an entire podcast episode where we're sparking or snuffing all the immunity necklaces.
Ooh.
Don't give me more ideas. That would be an incredible.
I was gonna say we should do a podcast where it's like it's like a parody of another Survivor Now podcast show. Like we do like a fake stock watch where it's like obvious like parody.
Oh, see, now you're going down the rabbit hole, Will.
Yeah.
You had me and then you lost me.
Oh, my bad. I'll come back later.
But we get to the strategy portion right before Tribal Council. It looks like it's going to be a split vote between Haley and Michaela, and we see Suri's group kind of go, why should we go Michaela? And we see Suri pull Michaela to the side. They were in the shelter, and she said, girl, I'm trying to save you. Vote Zeke and don't do anything else, which I think is a smart play. I know some people are like, why wouldn't you tell her to vote Haley so you have an additional vote? But Suri's trying to save face here. She doesn't want to know that Suri doesn't want everyone else to know that she's the one screwing the vote, essentially. So very smart play. We get to Tribal Council, and I almost felt like Haley ended up talking herself into whether it was going to be Haley or not. It was probably going to be Haley anyways. But a lot of the stuff Haley said, I was just like, not her best showing. We lose Haley here. And what do we think about Haley's game? Haley was one of those people who I felt like were just like there this season. There wasn't much. Cara, what did you think? First time seeing Haley play, was there anything for you?
No, not really. I feel like we didn't really see that much of her or anything. I feel like this was the most we saw of her talking at Tribal.
I mean, I felt like the most we saw her talking was in her confessional leaving. I was like,
that's fair.
She said something like, oh, they're just dumb. I don't understand it. And I was like, I didn't see you out there making moves. Will, what did you think of her game?
So I'm going to give a slight spoiler to Worlds Apart to her original season, but Haley had the comfiest Survivor experience because both times she played, she was the first juror. So she just got to live it up in Ponderosa. Like if I don't win Survivor or like if I'm not the fallen angel, I just want to have like Haley's stats. But no, she just existed, honestly. It's unfortunate, but in a season of Survivor, I feel like you can't just have all winners. You can't just have all stars. You need a few duds, you know? And sometimes... Okay, do you want me to overhype
We're
Haley?
tough this episode. I was tough on Michaela, and you're being tough on Haley. I'm like, ooh, we're vicious tonight.
I mean, it's a plus to Haley because sometimes you just need a supporting role to make the main characters pop more. You know,
I'm.
That's kind of
sometimes
brutal.
you're not meant for the spotlight.
Oh my gosh!
was-
I just want to see who Cara's gonna attack now. Who's like Cara's person?
She's like a diehard Andrea's like hater. Like comes on the podcast.
Guess we'll have to wait and see.
Oh my gosh, my dog is like begging to
That's
go out
crazy.
right now. I like never do this. I'm gonna log off for a second and take my dog out. I'm gonna throw you guys. So, and this
Oh my
is never
God.
before seen. My dog is like screaming right here to go out. I'll leave you with this so you guys can discuss it for 2 seconds while I do this. Is
Okay.
after the vote out, we get to kind of tribal lines have been drawn at this point. You know, you have Cerie's group and you have Culpepper's group, and we keep alluding to it. And this is where stuff begins to get kind of all over the place, and it leads to the second elimination, which came out of nowhere. And we will get to that. But Will, I'm going to throw this on you, buddy. Who's in a better position moving forward, heading into the second part of the episode between Brad Culpepper's group and Cerie's group? And then I'm going to be right back.
So, bye, Randy. What if we didn't talk about Survivor now? What if we talked about Big Brother instead? No, I feel like, I don't know about you, but I think Brad Culpepper's group, by default, just isn't going to last. I feel like there's too many bigger names, I feel like Cerie's group is a group that hasn't really been to tribal a whole lot. And so I feel like, honestly, that they can go the distance a little bit more. Because I just think individually, when you're looking at the players, I have more faith in Cerie's group than Brad Culpepper's group. And I don't know. I think Cerie is doing a great job kind of blending in the fact that there is a defined group. Because I feel like with Brad Culpepper's group, that is a defined alliance. People know where the power structure is. They know kind of everything about it. With Cerie's group, there's a few more question marks. You know, it's like, where's Andrea thinking? What is Aubrey thinking? What is, Zeke thinking? And so I feel like the only clear-cut position we've seen in that alliance is just that Cerie and Michaela are tight and what's going on around it. And I think because it's not so defined, I think, honestly, again, it can go the distance. What do you think, Cara?
I agree. I feel like Brad's group, you'll see like one or two of them go, but they're always going to be the targets, that group.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. I feel like Cerie's group is definitely more of the group that'll be able to mold their way through, figure out different strategies and ways to make themselves go further, whereas not the same for Brad's group.
Well, I was going to ask you guys, are you speaking with the people who were playing the middle in mind? I'm talking like, obviously at the end of this episode, we get a little clearer with Sarah joining on with Brad's group. Zeke seemed to me more with Cerie. That was the weirdest thing with this second half of the episode. The fact that Zeke ended up going with Culpepper's group, and it just really doesn't make sense to an extent. And I don't even know if he went. I mean, we can already talk about that. I don't know if he officially went with them because he did vote Aubrey. He didn't vote with Culpepper's group to get out Aussie. But this is something I brought up to you guys at the before we even went on air, is like the first half of the episode, we saw Zeke, Andrea, and Cerie all playing at camp, all kumbaya. Everyone's laughing. Everybody's having a good time. They seem like they are really close knit in this game. And then the second half of the episode, you have Cerie going after Zeke. You have Andrea going after Zeke. You have Zeke going after Andrea. And then it ended up with Andrea at tribal council when she votes for Zeke, being like, goodbye, talk to you never, with like attitude and putting it in the urn, or the urn, whatever you call it. So this is where the episode got confusing to me, And we spoke right beforehand that this was a 2-hour episode. It felt a little slow to be a 2-hour episode. It started to drag a little bit, and we can be real, guys. We could like this. It just got to the point where it's like, are these moves even making sense anymore? Will, like, how did you take everyone kind of flip flopping around? Because it didn't even feel like a voting block. It just felt like the first vote we had set alliances, and the second vote, Haley's out of the game. Balls to the wall now. Everybody just go after each other.
Yeah, I feel like if I had to guess what people were thinking at the moment, it was like there were the 2 votes, right? Zeke and Sierra, whatever. But those weren't really set in stone. It was more like, hey, I think we're doing this, I guess. And then when one person said, hey, let's just do Ozzy, everyone kind of just jumped in on it and were like, all right, why not? To me, it just felt like it was Zeke's downfall looking back. Like, I feel like it kind of would have explained. I feel like Zeke should have been voted out here, right? It's like Zeke, going up to Sierra, like, hey, I think you're getting voted, or it was something like that. And Zeke kind of overplaying a little bit. And he only got 4 votes. And all of a sudden, Ozzy just got sniped. And Zeke voted for Aubrey. Do we know why Zeke voted for Aubrey? Because I cannot remember. I'm not going to lie.
I feel like the editing this season has been, I don't know. I was thinking this earlier too. I'm like, this is starting to make me realize that new era editing has been incredible because the storytelling has been there. And this season has just felt like, where is all of this going? Like, why did they do that? Why did they do this? Cara, what do you think so far with like how people are kind of flip-flopping around and such?
Yeah, it's like people are trying to find like where they fit in, like what is going to be the best position for them. So they're testing things out, I guess. I don't know. It is weird how like quick things change.
They're in their 20s.
They're
in their 20s dating era of like testing the water tests and everything. And the other thing, I love the point you brought up earlier, Cara. You said this before we went on air, I believe, where you said you were surprised that Zeke was a target at this point in the game, especially with what just happened to Varner. Like, yes, you don't get a free pass to go all the way to the end because of what you went through, but it is a little weird that people just noticed this. And he had a beautiful scene where he actually told everyone who wasn't there. He told Culpepper, like, he wasn't there. Aubrey wasn't there. He said, this is what happened. It's okay. I'm still strong after it. And then immediately people were like, oh, that's so sad. I'm voting you out next. It didn't really make much sense.
No, that really surprised me. I did not expect his name to come up at all in this episode. I thought maybe like 2 episodes down the line. I don't know. I was not expecting so soon for him to be a potential vote out. But also one thing I wanted to mention was how he said like he'd rather like go out trying to make a big move than not making a big move at all.
Yeah.
So good way to play Survivor.
I don't know. I'd rather not get voted out, but that's just me. Yeah. I feel like Zeke is Zeke reminds me of another player who may or may not be on the season, but I'll get to both of them at a later point and talk more about it. But Zeke is just a very...
We almost said the exact same thing. Cara and I both simultaneously turned our head. And then when she said, ooh, I was about a split second from going, ooh.
Yeah, I'll talk about it. I'll talk about more at later points when I see fit. But Zeke is a very strategically savvy player, I feel. And I think, not put like all of his points in strategy, like a few points in social play, and then like Zeke winning competitions. I don't really think so.
Are you now attacking Zeke? Because there will be no Zeke slander here.
I'm not slandering Zeke. Okay,
no
what
Zeke slander.
Yeah, Zeke is a challenge beast. Zeke is the new Dolphin Boy. No,
I'm still just waiting to see who Cara does not like this season, because we've now talked down Michaela's game And
you talked down Michaela's game,
and you talked down Haley's game.
I think
Can
I
you
beefed with
blame me?
Sandra enough in the beginning few episodes we did. That was my beef for the season.
So Will and I choose two
Yeah.
like middle of the road Survivor players, and here comes Cara. You know, the first ever 2-time winner. Yeah, awful.
Hater. Done. Put her out.
Love you, Sandra.
We did have one of the most historic challenges happen this episode before we get to the eventual elimination, the second one that takes place, and that was Get a Grip. Challenge that we've seen quite often. Ozzy has never lost this challenge. Also, quick shout out, forgive me, I forgot to mention earlier that Andrea was the first woman to ever win that challenge. So she defeated Ty to break that record. And then Ty comes back and breaks a small record. Ozzy had never lost that challenge before. And it comes down to a showdown between Ozzy and Ty. Ozzy ends up dropping, so Ty dethrones the king at his own challenge. We also saw Andrea take like a massive fall. That's why this is another challenge that I would be terrified to compete in. Because like if you fall from the top, you're falling a long way.
That's just why you can't fall. You got to just hold on.
Cara, are you gonna hang on for an hour? Because I cannot. There's no way. I don't even think I'd be able to lock on. Like I feel like once I get up there, I would like lock around, and before the challenge even starts, I'd start like sliding.
No.
Like, yeah, I don't even think I could lock on to start.
I could probably. I mean, I don't think I'd win because I'm a bigger guy, so there's just more weight. You know, I have to. That's like hanging on. I think I could last a little bit. Maybe not a showdown, but I can make like top 5.
Will, do you have a flagpole in your yard right now? I'm ready to settle this right now.
No, but there's a tree outside, Randy. There's a tree outside.
How long do you guys think you could go realistically? I'd give me 3 minutes.
I have no idea. I would be scared to fall.
Yeah.
But I also have like no upper body strength. Like I don't know if I'd even be able to hold myself up. I would just be scared to fall.
The one thing I have going for me is I have like long legs, so I could definitely like wrap around the pole. So it's a Survivor classic. Ozzy didn't know that he was basically playing for his life in the game because we get back to tribal council. We get back to camp. And the big talk around camp is where's this next vote going? Obviously, you had the easy vote with Haley. I found it very interesting that Michaela is no longer a vote. I didn't hear her name get brought up at all in the second half of the episode, which made no sense. I was like, everyone wanted Michaela out. We got switched to Haley, and now everyone's just like, okay with it. They're like, oh, okay, we're cool. Michaela can stay now. I'm sure it's fine. Cara is now making friends with everybody because Will and I are the best.
Yeah, we're the villains here, Randy.
But it comes down to Zeke. Zeke's name is getting thrown out. Ozzy's name is being thrown out. Sierra's name was being thrown out as like take out Brad Culpepper's number one ally, or as someone said, I can't remember who, but they called her the godfather of that alliance. It might have been Suri who said that. And so you don't really know where this vote is heading. And it ends up going in the direction of Ozzy because Brad Culpepper's group and Debbie's extra vote that Cara would have taken. Remember, I talked that down. I was like, it doesn't, extra votes never work. It did help out. It wasn't necessary, but it helped out here. Ozzy ends up going home. And at this point, Ozzy just has to understand he's never winning Survivor. And he's always going to be that like second or third merch boot. And once again, he doesn't take it well. He turns around and he goes, enjoy trying to eat or something like that. And I'm like, Ozzy, at this point, I feel like they're fine. I feel like they know how to catch fish and stuff. Or there's Culpepper, there's Ty, they're fine. Will, what did we think about Ozzy's exit here? It was his 4th time playing, I believe.
Yeah. It's also his like 9th time getting voted out. If you count every single time he got voted out in South Pacific.
Oh, he's petty every time he gets voted out.
Oh yeah, it was weird. Ozzy this season was just very quiet, and I really wish we saw more of him because, like what I was saying earlier, like this is an older Ozzy, Like I feel like I wanted to see if he was more mature because season 22 or 23, 13, and 16, he was very
right off the head there. That's
right off the head, right off the dome. He was just very cocky, he was like a young guy, who was very fit and it did very well. And so I want to see him take a more laid back approach and make it far as like a provider. We only heard from him like 4 or 5 times this season.
Yeah, he was very quiet. Yeah,
very, very quiet. So I was hoping for more, but I don't blame Ozzy for not seeing a lot of Ozzy. I just blame production and editing for not showing us a lot of Ozzy. But, of all the notes to end on, I think this was a decent note, being a threat on an all-star season. It's bittersweet, I'd say.
Well, you said before we went on air, too, that you were super confused on why Ozzy was the vote here. So, like, you mentioned that they should have went with Zeke. That's overall, that's where you think the majority of the group should have gone over Ozzy. Like, I kind of see the Ozzy side of things because you're getting out a huge challenge beast before he can get on an immunity run. Oh, I might have lost Will.
I agree.
Nope. I'm back.
Will doesn't have an answer.
No, sorry. I got a notification. All right, calm down. No,
I was just gonna say the energy drink ran out, so Will's like deactivated.
I'm already crashing, guys. So the thing here, the outruns, it's like again, Ozzy. This is a older Ozzy, and I feel like I don't know. I'd worry more about other players, and I feel like this season, some of the guys are just big guys. Brad Culpepper played in the NFL. Troyzan isn't a slouch.
Hey, don't sleep on Ty. I seriously think Ty's the best challenge person out there. Small but mighty.
I feel like you're joking, but I also can see you being serious.
I am not. No, I am like dead serious. This man is in every endurance challenge, and every time you see him in a team challenge,
endurance challenges, yes.
Like Ty just feels like he will stay up on anything all day. He doesn't need to move.
Yeah.
Michaela has been known to be pretty a beast in the challenges. Andrea is very well-rounded as a player. Like I feel like the idea of a challenge beast isn't really just an Aussie thing. I don't know. I feel like if I was looking at the board, I'd be like, I can't beat Ozzy, but like maybe Brad Culpepper, maybe Michaela, unless it's water-based.
Ozzy also seemed like he was willing to work with Brad Culpepper in that gang, and that's what made me scratch my head too. Literally scratch my head. I didn't even notice I was doing that. Ozzy would have been a great shield for Brad Culpepper. And so I think that would have been a good move for him to keep him around. I thought for Cerie's group, they should have made the move against Ty. I think you should have made a move against Ty in either of these first 2 votes, because one, I don't think he would have saw it coming. And I see Ty, everyone's looking at Sierra, but I'm looking at Ty being like Culpepper's right-hand man, because Ty has been known to be a player that he gets this big, attractive-looking guy to be his number one, and he's loyal to him to the very end. Cara, are we shocked about Ozzy? Was there someone else you thought they should have gone after? How are you looking at this vote with Ozzy going home here?
I feel like Ozzy going makes sense, like, because he is like a challenge threat and he's played so many times. I feel like if he makes it to the end, he has a good chance of winning. So I think getting him out is valid. I think they should have got him out in the pre-merge. There was one time when they were talking about it, and I feel like it would have been a good time for him to go here. So I feel like it makes sense that he goes. I don't think it was a bad move.
This is usually where, small spoiler for Cara here, but usually where Ozzy ends up going anyways is like this early merge. He's just one of those physical guys that he helps you get to the merge and then you cut him loose. So I hate seeing him go.
Yeah.
I do wish I could kind of see Ozzy make it to the end, which we did see in his first season. I still think he kind of got screwed. But yeah, it was him and Yule sitting at the end, right? If I remember correctly.
And
Yeah.
who I think it was Becky.
Yeah,
It was a final 3.
yeah, but it came down to a 5-4 vote, right?
Yep. I don't know. I think Yule.
That
I think
close
Yule
to winning.
deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, Yule deserves it too. That's what was tough. Like that was the
Yeah.
one season that I'm like, well, not the one season. Like I could see you giving the prize to Wendell and Dom, but like that's the thing. I was like, man, if only there could have been 2 survivors. Those 2 both played a terrific season.
Kind of like 46.
But what'd you say?
Kind of like 46.
Oh yeah, 46. Terrific. Yeah, you could have given it to Kinsey or Charlie. So you could even make the argument for 44. Oh, Ben. Oh yeah, Ben as well. Yes, Ben
I'd
was
vote
there.
for Ben, personally.
Ben would have been a valid winner.
Ben would have been my winner.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't want to make someone else mad now. I love
Ben hater.
Well, no, I am not a Ben hater. Ben also said he'll come on the show sometime. So Will. Oh,
Dude.
did I not tell you that, Will?
No.
Oh,
my
he
God.
messaged. He said, "Let me know when, and I'll be on."
Let me know as well. I will call off work. I will quit my job. To Ben.
I will not allow you to quit your job. Yeah, I mean, the only thing we didn't talk about this episode was the spa day where Ty was running around naked. Risky move. You don't know how people could take it, but it was funny. Where does spa, just the fun question to wrap us up here, where does a spa reward rank in terms of like rewards for Survivor? Is it one of the better ones? I would put like tarp number 1. Like I've heard the tarp is the most important thing you could have in the game.
Yeah. In terms of just pure Survivor, I'd rank it pretty high because it's a good.
You get to shower.
Yeah. Me, I would hate a spa because I hate standing still. Like I'd be like, guys, I'm bored. I want to run around. I don't want to relax.
You're not standing still. You have like a canopy to kind of what you have, like a bed. You can work on your tan. Cara, like where does it rank for you? Would it be one of the best?
I'd say it's pretty high up there. I think it's one of the better ones. I'd rather it over the pizza they had in the last episode. So
I hate that you brought that pizza back up. Oh my!
It was so bad.
Was the pizza the worst part about the last week's episode?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's been a rough couple of weeks. I know we jumped all over the place today. One reason is because I didn't take notes. I got home extremely late. Second reason is obviously the dog issue. I'm going to let him in a minute. He's cool for everyone. It's raining outside, so he's probably wet now. And so I'm going to let him back in. And then 3, I'll say it. This wasn't the best Survivor episode, but I do know some of the big moments coming up. We've got a lot of exciting like Survivor game changers moments coming up. I just felt like this episode, even though it was like 2 hours long, felt like a filler episode to me to an extent.
It was.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because Cara, I'm going to out you a little bit. You were still watching.
Yeah, I did not realize that it was this long. I didn't even look at how long it was. I just was like, I could start at 8. We always can watch it right before. And then I was like, the first tribal ended. I was like, wait, what's happening? Why is there more episode? So
it's a
I did not realize it was that long.
The only reason I outed you is I'm going to out myself too. I did the same thing, but thankfully I started it a little earlier than 8, just out of pure luck. Just because I was home and I was like, I might as well go ahead and start this. And I had to pause it to do something. And I was at Tribal Council and I paused it and it said 32 out of like an hour and a half. And I was like, well, that can't be right. So then I unpaused it, expecting it to maybe jump ahead and say like it's at the end of the episode. And it still said like 32. And I was like, is this a 2-hour episode? And there wasn't. That was my response. I'll just flat out say it. That was how I said it. I was like, is this because I was already kind of getting to the point where I'm like doing this and I'm like, there's not much. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I still have 40 minutes. It just felt
It was
slow.
long.
It felt slow. But let me go ahead and get to what we have coming up on Survivor Now. Everyone by now probably knows about the Patreon. Go ahead and check that out. Link is in the description below. We have so much content coming out for you guys, way more this offseason than we've ever had before. So myself, Ollie, and Matthew did a video. We discussed the 3 locks from each new era season who are guaranteed to come back at some point in Survivor. Not necessarily for Survivor 50, but at some point. That video is available now on our Patreon for faithful and legend tier members. We also had a fun night with Survivor Australian player Nina Twine. Playing Touchy Subjects, the classic Survivor Challenge. That is available to Legend tier members as well. So Legend tier members only. And we've got some more videos coming up for you guys. This is going to be happening next week. So it just was announced today that Parvati is set to be on Deal or No Deal Island Season 2. So Tegwith will be discussing all of that news. She watched Season 1. I heard it was pretty good. So that's going to be exclusive to our Patreon, whether you're faithful or legend members. That's not all. We have Ollie hosting a Survivor UK look back episode. He's gonna look back on the season and look ahead to what could be in store for the future of Survivor UK with special guests Ren Elvidge, and the winner of Survivor UK, Matthew Haywood, will be joining Ollie. That should be a really good stream as they discuss the future and whether or not we could see that show back on our screens. We also have a way too early Survivor 47 predictions video coming out. Both of those are going to be available in August, by the way. This one should be set for August 1st, and that will be available for both tiers. And then the way too early Survivor 47 predictions will be around August 9th, 8th, and 9th, I believe, right now. And that will be for the Legend tier only. So lots of exciting stuff coming out. Never too early to look ahead to Survivor 47, especially when we're starting to see some trailers, some promo shots. And the last thing I'll say is best of luck to everyone who is applying to Survivor 49. The casting starts this upcoming Monday. Cara, Will, are we auditioning for season 49? Are we doing it?
Yep.
Okay, Will's
I'm gonna do it right now.
This is his audition tape. He's sending in the full hour podcast to him.
I compiled every single Stockwatch episode, but I cut out every single time Jack spoke. So it's just me and sometimes Troy's in for like a second.
Cara, are you going to be sending in an audition?
Maybe.
Oh, you should. Maybe.
Okay. You've convinced me.
Imagine if 2 of us got on season 49.
That'd be crazy.
I'm voting you out first, Randy.
I'm
a target.
Knew it. Other than that, if you are watching this on our YouTube right now, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check out our Patreon. Link is in the bio below. If you're listening to this on Spotify, leave us a rating, preferably 5 stars. We greatly appreciate it. Helps get the podcast out there. And don't forget to check us out on our Instagram at Survivor Now Podcast, our X at Survivor Now Pod, or check out all of our content on SurvivorNowPodcast.com. Anything exciting planned for you guys before we log off here?
I joined a band.
I thought you were already in a band.
Yeah. I like someone was like, "Hey, Will, do you know how to play drums?" I said, "Yeah, I don't know how to play drums." So I went to the attic and I pulled out my old electric drum kit that barely works, and so now that's what I'm doing now. On top of my band that I'm already in.
I see. I knew you were already in a band.
Yeah. Saving Bruce.
Saving Bruce. Go check him out. Cara, anything exciting planned?
Going on a trip with my family. Like a lot of my family's coming in, so it's like a little family reunion. So be doing that this coming week.
You're going on another vacation? Okay, save
another vacation. I have one thing I want to say before we leave about the episode. I loved that there was no Mergatory.
Oh,
Yeah.
I meant to say that
don't
sooner,
get
but
Randy
yeah.
started, bro.
Oh yeah, we'll be here for another 45 minutes.
I don't
Yes,
mind
no
it.
mergatory. Yes, please.
I don't like it at all. I love the no
Can't stand it.
mergatory.
Oh, can't stand it. Just get rid of that and go back to 2 tribes, and that would be amazing. And
Yeah.
for me, next week's podcast will be my last podcast in my parents' house. So, and I'll have my own apartment after that. We just finished, or I just finished doing all the paperwork and like internet and all that tedious stuff that you got to do before moving in. So I'll have kind of a new setup. I think I'm going to have stuff on the wall behind me, like back to where I have like some Survivor stuff. It's a little plain. So next week will be the final podcast in my little corner here, which I'm looking forward to. But other than that, we hope you guys have an incredible week, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in, guys.